Sounds like a good idea. Trust and relax. I have a question for you all this morning, for you to ponder, to think about. What does it mean to you when you hear that you were born in the image and likeness of God? My intention this morning is to help you to attain a deeper understanding of the nature of God within you. Gaining an awareness of the inherent power, the divine nature within you and how it works in your life. Yes, we were born to make manifest the glory of God within us. We were born in the image and likeness of God. This is what we're told. So let us explore how Ernest Holmes sees it. He describes it as God is a threefold nature, a universal being, God itself. Yes, we are told that inherently we have all those great qualities of God: love, peace, joy, harmony, health, wealth, wisdom, and much, much more. All that is good. Most importantly, we have the inherent power by right of consciousness and the use of the law, the ability to manifest. It is our divine birthright, which means we are born with, automatically endowed with, this power. That God is in back of all that is. And all that is in back of all that is God, and it is the macrocosm. It's a big word, because God is big. Macrocosm, it is the substance by which all things are made. And that means us. And we are the microcosm. In the Science of Mind glossary, it is defined: macrocosm, the universal world, another word for the whole, with a W. Microcosm, the individual world, as distinguished from the universal. We have a little book, too, written by Dennis Merritt Jones, Doctor of Divinity, and author of The Art of Being. He explains in his little book called How to Speak the Science of Mind. The universe is the body of God. The universe is that which was created in order to more fully express the best and highest good in life. Scientists tell us that the universe is continually expanding. This is the creative divine urge of God to grow. This same creative divine urge permeates every cell of our being, of our bodies. It is that urge that causes us to grow and be more than we were yesterday. Our bodies are simply mini universes, the microcosm within the macrocosm. So how does the macrocosm and the microcosm affect us? Dennis says, spiritually speaking, the macrocosm is the universal whole. God is all that is. The microcosm is the individual parts of the whole. But at the same time, no less than the whole in essence. Every human being represents a microcosm of the macrocosm. So we are as God is. In other words, while God is all you are not all that God is. The goal of the Science of Mind is to support people in realizing their unique relationship, not just with God, but as mortal manifestations of God. The macrocosm and the microcosm are one. All the qualities of God apply to you as well. Realizing this truth will bring you joy. It'll bring you health and satisfaction in life. It'll bring you abundance, tranquility, faith, power, and the inner peace. Ernest attempts to explain it to us as he has come to see it in chapter 6 of the Science of Mind book, page 106, where he says, man reenacts the nature of God. Whatever is true of the universe as a whole must be true of the individual as some part of the whole. Man is evolved from the universe as a self-conscious, thinking center of living spirit. And as such, he must, in his nature and being, reproduce the universe. If we realize that God is triune in nature and that man is a spiritual likeness of God, we shall see that the whole scheme of life and the whole nature of the divine being is reenacted through man, through all of us. This, of course, does not mean that man is God. It means that in some small world of individual expression, his nature is identical to God's. This is what Jesus meant when he said, as the Father hath life within himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life within himself. This refers to inherent life, real life, the life of God within us. That is the only life God could have. We must expect to find man, therefore, the same inherent attributes that we find in the universal from which he springs. A single drop of water is not the whole ocean, but it does contain within itself the same qualities and attributes. Man is made out of and from life. Man is in effect and must partake of the nature of its cause. So man must partake of the nature from which it springs. We did not create our nature. We cannot change it. We cannot change its inherent reality. We are what we are. And we use this nature for better or for worse. Being what we are, there are certain responsibilities that go with our nature, certain obligations. If our thought is creative, and if we have selectivity, that is volition or will and choice, and if we are unfolding to a discovery of our true nature, which must already be perfect, then the obligation and the responsibility of this nature could impose freedom or bondage upon us temporarily. But our bondage cannot be real from the standpoint of the absolute. In other words, we must mind our minds, our speech, and our actions, because the triune nature of God is within us. That triune nature Reverend Margaret was speaking about last week and explained our symbol here, where the top part is spirit, the middle is soul or law, and the bottom is body or manifestations. The top part, the spirit, is the universal presence, universal conscious intelligence, the word, the great conscious actor, the power that knows itself. The middle part, the soul, is the law, the formless stuff, the medium of its action. It is a blind force obeying the will of spirit. And the bottom is the body, which is the effect of spirit working through law to produce form, the result of its action as manifestation. To learn more about this, come to the Foundations class. Yes, deepen into it. So in the Science of Mind, page 609, Ernest defines manifestation. So what is manifestation? Manifestation, he says, to manifest means to show forth and to make evident. Everything we see, the plants, the animals, man, every visible thing is a manifestation of God, differing only in degree, and every manifestation contains in its essence the whole, as one drop of ocean water is as perfect in essence as the entire body. So we are as perfect as the entire body of God. We are not all of God. That last sentence was me, that wasn't Ernest. We are not all of God, but the reality of God is within us. As we make conscious use of the law, planting an idea in the mind and watching it come forth into form, into objectivity, we are producing a manifestation. So the right of consciousness, we produce manifestations. We co-create with God's power within us. Personifying the Trinity of being, man reenacts the nature, the divine nature on all three planes. Spirit, again, is active and it acts upon soul, producing creation. Spirit is self-existent, self-knowing, conscious mind, word, thought. Law is automatic. Law of mind is impersonal force, compelled to act. In its nature, it's compelled to act on our thoughts and words. It obeys the will of the Spirit. And the form, the body, is the form and the manifestation of creation. The nature of God works through us, through our thoughts, through our words, feelings, and deeds. We have that power innately within us. Spirit must create in order to express. So then within our nature of being, there is one spirit, one mind, one law, one substance, one body, with many forms and many manifestations. Ernest says, man never creates, he discovers and uses. Meaning he discovers the use of the law and he uses it. So we use that law, we discover it, and we use it to create greater good in our life. So man discovers his ability, Ernest says, to think and realizes that from within there comes a reaction to his thought. He can think consciously, and mental law acts upon his thought, and his physical body is affected by his thinking. So I want to share maybe two little stories about manifesting and the law acting upon my thoughts. In the spring, I made a decision that I wanted to go to Vermont. I asked my niece and my nephew if they wanted to go this summer with me. My nephew says that he can't go this summer, but he can go in the fall. And I said, well, I'd really like to go this summer. So if I don't, then I'll talk to you in the fall about it. So a couple of weeks ago, I had this intention that I'm going to Vermont this summer. I paid it no more mind, but then about 3 weeks ago, I came home late one night, started scrolling Facebook, and a group of friends that I know on Facebook were mentioning a trip to Vermont and that there were a couple rooms available. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to Vermont. It really is true. So I called, I texted or instant messaged the guy, gave him my phone number, and we spoke. Not only did I manifest going on the trip, I manifested a ride there. I didn't even have to drive 5 hours, just ride along. So it was a wonderful trip, and I enjoyed myself well, but there was one incident that really tested my faith. We went to a quarry to swim one day. I'd never been to a quarry. I had no idea about quarries. There were high rocks and people, the place was packed. There was high rocks and people were jumping off the rocks, diving in, and I was like, oh my God. And some of the guys I was with, they were jumping in, and I thought, well, I'm not gonna jump in. I'm not gonna dive, but I'd like to get in the water. So I walked all the way around the quarry and I saw a low rock right at the edge of the water, so I sat there and pondered a while. Should I, shouldn't I? And I really loved the water, so I thought, well, maybe if I just slide off this rock and into the water, I'll be fine. So I did that. Then it was like trying to hold on to the rock. It was a little slippery. So I thought, I better swim to the other side. So I was swimming to the other side, and I wasn't quite all the way there yet. And I started to run out of steam. I became very tired, and part of me wanted to panic. And I thought, oh, I got to take some deep breaths. Let me take some deep breaths, because I'm not going like this, Lord. You got to help me get to the other side. You know, I like, help me get to the other side. And before I knew it, I just kept deep breathing and swimming, deep breathing and swimming. And before I knew it, I was to the other side. But I was hyperventilating. And there was a pipe stuck in the rock for me to grab. And I held onto that pipe. And I hung there on that pipe and tried to get my breath the best I could and calm down. And I'm like, okay, I'm too weak. I can't even hoist myself up on this pipe, just get up on that rock. Besides, it was slippery. So I took another deep breath and I looked. And there was a 16-year-old girl on a board. Now, nobody else in the whole quarry had a board. But there she was, right alongside of me, with this board, you know, like a boogie board or a float board, or I don't know. And I said, hello. And she said, do you need help? I said, yes, I do. She said, well, if you can hang on to the board, I'll paddle us to the ladder, which was quite a ways down. So she paddled to the ladder. I'm hanging on the board. So we get almost to the ladder, and I'm like, I'm getting tired of hanging on the board. I'm like, I can't slip off this board. So before we know it, we're to the ladder. The ladder was sturdy. It was easy to climb, and I got out. But you see, when I had that thought, God help me get to the other side, the next thought in my mind was, Lord, I believe. As soon as I asked, the thought came in my head, I believe. And so when we believe, and we ask and we believe, we manifest. We manifest our desires. And my desire was to get out of that water safely. And so that was a testament. And so that's my soul sharing for today, too. But anyway, I mean, so, you know, to know and to understand the nature of our being is very empowering. And I understand the nature of my being in God. And God is within me. And when I ask and believe and know it is so, it is so. So, in summary, God is right where we are, even in that water with me. We are the manifestations of God. That God's spark is our divine nature. To know that there is a power and a presence operating in our lives through us is so inspiring. We are not powerless. This power within us is natural. We are not victims of circumstance. It has been our free will and choices and our erroneous thinking that has made us appear less than perfect. I did not think, oh God, I'm going to die. Oh God, I'm going to drown. I did not think that. My first thought was, God, help me. I believe. Through right thinking, we can change our lives, thereby manifesting and revealing the perfect idea of life. We can work with the laws of nature for our good and the good of others. This is God's purpose, to live, to move, and to have its being in us, through us, as us. We are the expressions of one life, one mind, one law, one substance, one body, yet many manifestations. Spirit within us is changeless. However, forms are changeable by our thoughts, our words we put into the law, and the feeling behind them. So do we really know who and whose we are? And because of it, are we realizing what power we have and what we are capable of? Do we believe that God is the macrocosm and we are the microcosm, inherent of the nature of being? Do we believe and trust all that God has we have? Do we believe there is a power for good and that we can use it for our good? Do we believe? Do we believe there's a power for good?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then if we believe, then repeat after me. The nature of God expresses through me as me.
The nature of God expresses through me as me.
Therefore, I am born to make manifest
I am born to make manifest
the glory of God within me.
the glory of God within me.
Let's say that last line again. I am born to make manifest
I am born to make manifest
the glory of God within me.
the glory of God within me.
And if you want to know more about this kind of stuff, sign up for Foundation. In the meantime, read chapter 7 in the Science of Mind book, entitled The Nature of Being. Buy the little book by Dennis Merritt Jones, Doctor of Divinity, How to Speak the Science of Mind. And so let us just take a deep breath right now, and if you will, you can close your eyes and I'll just give a meditation here for us to contemplate. I am spirit made manifest this instant. My body and every part of it is made of pure substance, God. It cannot deteriorate. This instant, this infinite substance within me, which is constantly flowing through me, takes form in the likeness of perfect, whole, complete cells. Every cell of my lungs is strong and healthy, filled with life and vitality, strength and cleanliness. My body, which is spirit in form, knows no time, knows no degree. It knows only to express fully, instantaneously. The divine presence being everywhere and filling all space must be in me. It must be that which I really am. I recognize it is within me, and it is that which I am. Let it reach down into the very depths of my being. I rejoice in my divinity. I am now made vigorous and whole. I am made hardy. I have the stamina of the infinite. I am sturdy and robust. I am fortified with God's perfection and right action. I am hale and able-bodied. All the life of the universe is my life. All the strength of the universe is my strength. All the power of the universe is my power. Every breath I draw fills me with perfection, vitalizes, energizes, and renews every cell of my body. I am born in spirit and of spirit. I am spirit made manifest this instant. And so it is.
So it is.
Amen.